Hello and welcome back to Carwale. I'm Bilal and this is the all-new Honda Elevate. Now a lot has been said and done around the Honda Elevate. In fact, we have done a very detailed first drive video and we have also done a pricing dissection and how it stacks up against its rival in a very detailed video, and you can check out our videos on our YouTube channel. But now we have spent a few days with the Elevate. So in this video, we'll be telling you 5 things that we like about the Honda Elevate and 2 things that Honda should have thought about before introducing the Elevate in a segment which is highly dominated by very competitive rivals such as the Hyundai Creta and the Kia Seltos. And we will also be telling you the Carwale real-world fuel mileage of this Honda Elevate petrol manual. So stick till the end. And before we begin, you know the drill. It's subscribe to the Carwale YouTube channel, like this video and share it forward as well. Now the first thing that we like about the Elevate right off the bat is the way it is to drive. Now I admit it is not very quick or very exciting to drive, but everything about the Elevate, it's focused on being very comfortable. It induces calmness and it's very light to operate for everyday usability. This steering, for instance, it has good thickness to it, it's nice to hold, and even on the move it has good weight to it. It's not very light or very heavy either, and it's also very direct. We also came to appreciate the way the gear lever works in the Honda City, and it remains true with the Elevate as well. The gear lever, it has good nice throw to it. It has a mechanical feel, and you know the gears have been slotted with a nice clink, and I like the way it works. And it also fits right to your palm, but I would have loved if this center console would have been slightly taller because of this SUV stance. So it would have fitted right into your palm when your elbows are rested on the driver's armrest. Otherwise, the entire ergonomics is quite decent. It's good. And then complementing this gearbox is the light clutch. It does have a long travel and a slightly awkward biting point, but this overall combination of the clutch and the gear lever and the overall driving dynamics, it's quite engaging and it keeps you comfortable, be it in the city commutes or when you're driving in your long distance cross-country jaunts. Now let's talk about visibility. Newer drivers or drivers used to smaller cars might find this flat bonnet slightly intimidating, especially in the city. But I personally love the way the bulge on the bonnet is leading the way, like an old school large car, like an old Ambassador. Apart from that, the visibility is also fantastic. The large ORVMs, they are squarish and offer a good view around. You also have Honda's lane watch here as well, and even the pillars are slim for unmatched overall visibility. Now the Honda City in its current generation, it offers an ample amount of room at the back. So obviously it makes for a very good chauffeur driven car. But what about the Elevate now? Let me show you this. This seat, it's not set to my driving position. It's set to the maximum it can go back, and it's set at the lowest position it can go. And still I have ample amount of leg room here. And even this seat, it offers a good recline angle. Unlike the Seltos, it doesn't get a manual adjustment for the recline, but this recline is quite comfortable. It's not very upright or it's not very laid back. It's just the right amount. And the seats, it has right contours and right support. It makes you feel very comfortable even if you have to spend long duration here in the back seat. I also like the way this window line, it just lines up with my shoulder, and there's also a rear quarter glass, so you don't feel very claustrophobic. Even in the headroom department, this scooped out roof, it gives you good amount of space here, so even taller passengers won't find it very uncomfortable. But I can only imagine how well the cabin of this Elevate would have felt if there was a large panoramic sunroof over here. In terms of pure numbers, Elevate's second row is on par with its rivals as well. Here is how it stacks up against them. Now we have already established the fact that the Honda Elevate is a good car to be chauffeured in, and helping its cause is its super ride quality, especially at slow speeds. So at city speeds, the Elevate, it absorbs all the bumps and creases quite nicely. It has a very planned low speed ride, and despite the longer suspension travel, it settles down quite nicely and quite quickly. So you're never actually thrown around the car much. So going over speed breakers or irregularities, the Elevate doesn't wallow much, but it rather glides over them. But when a speed increases, say to a highway speed, there are some noticeable moments, but it never gets to a point of being uncomfortable. So if a comfortable ride quality is what you're looking for in your next car, look no further than the Honda Elevate. The Elevate comes with Honda's sensing ADAS hardware in this range-topping ZX trim, and thankfully it is not limited to the automatics only, because what we're driving here is the manual, and we have experienced the ADAS in the Honda City manual. But let's try that out in the Elevate together, shall we? Now the ADAS hardware in the Elevate uses the same camera-based system that you get in the City, which uses a camera mounted here on the windscreen instead of a foolproof or the more advanced radar system, but it works quite well in the Indian conditions. The hardware you get is the collision mitigation, both warning and braking. You also get the adaptive cruise control, you get lane keep assist, and auto beam as well. Now it's easy to engage these ADAS via these buttons on the steering wheel. There are two buttons. One controls the distance you want from the car ahead, and the other one it's for the lane keep assist. The adaptive cruise control, it works on the buttons that is provided for usual cruise control buttons. Now the collision mitigation, warning and autonomous braking. I haven't experienced the autonomous braking kicking in the last few days I've driven the car, but the warning does come up on the instrument cluster. Next up is the adaptive cruise control, and it works quite brilliantly. When you set a speed for the adaptive cruise control, it manages to increase or decrease the speed depending on the traffic condition, which is quite nice. But this is a manual, so it does disengages the adaptive cruise control when the speed drops below 30 kmph. And lastly, we come to the lane keep assist and mitigation, in fact. So this feature, it only works at speed above 70 kmph. Now I've experienced it on the Mumbai-Pune expressway, and it works really nice. The steering, it manages to take the slight curves that are there on the highway quite nicely, but you need to have your hands on the steering all the time. And the steering, it does take care of the small curvatures that come along the way, and it works quite nicely. This being a camera-based system, it might sometimes not read the markings which you can see on the road, but if it's not well painted or it has faded in some areas, the camera-based, the adaptive cruise control system, it might just disengage on its own. So you need to be on the command all the time, even if you are using the ADAS. And finally, we come to the real-world mileage of the Honda Elevate petrol manual. Now, when we tested out on our usual city cycle, the Honda Elevate with its 1.5-litre petrol IV-Tech engine, it returned a real-world fuel efficiency of 11.36 kmpl. The MID was showing 12.9 kmpl when I finished the test. And out on the highway, the Elevate returned a mileage of 18.5 kmpl. This time the MID was pretty close to accurate. It showed 18.8 kmpl. Now the short first, second and even the third gear, along with the absence of engine start-stop function, are the two reasons for the not so impressive city fuel mileage. With the engine start-stop function, I think the mileage could have been around 13.5 to 14 kmpl, which have been very impressive for a car this size. More importantly, the Elevate is on par with its sibling, the City, which is smaller and lighter in terms of mileage in the city, which is quite impressive, right? Undoubtedly, the fuel mileage figures of the Elevate would have been tremendously impressive if it had a hybrid powertrain. But these figures aren't too bad, we think. But what do you think? Let us know your opinion in the comment section below. Now let's talk about the two things about the Elevate that we think should have been better. And the first up is the NVH. Now this 1.5-litre IV-Tech petrol engine, it's been known for being very refined and vibration free and even silent to a point that you have to double check whether the engine is running or not when idling. But once on the move, the engine now starts to get noisier and that noise starts filtering inside the cabin. Some might even like that noise because it's a naturally aspirated symphony, but for others it might be annoying. And you don't even have to ring the engine a lot to get that annoying sound inside the cabin. It starts to kick in even when you go past 2000 RPM. Secondly, at highway speeds, there's a lot of wind noise in the Elevate. The large wing mirrors cause buffeting and that sound filters into the cabin as well. Other road noises are also heard inside despite a decent level of insulation. That's something we didn't expect from Honda. The Elevate then on paper seems to be a value for money buy. And we can get into a discussion that at its price it offers everything the competition has on offer. But the competition does offer more in their more expensive versions, which the Elevate buyer will never have a chance to experience, even if the buyer is willing to spend more money for those feel-good features. Take a look at the new and updated Kia Seltos for instance, or even the new Nexon. It is a segment below the Elevate, but it has a very long feature list. So if you want a car which is highly feature laden, which will make you go wow every time you step inside, or have something to show off to your new passengers every single time, the Honda Elevate is not for you. Because the Honda Elevate, it offers value in a very different way altogether. That's all from this video, but if you have any other doubts regarding the Honda Elevate, which will help you with your buying decision, do write them down in the comment section below and I promise we will answer them all. And if you want to watch our detailed first drive video done by none other than Vikrant Singh himself, you can click on the box to your left. And the Elevate's direct rival, the Kia Seltos, it has been updated and we have done a detailed video for it as well. And you can check out that video by clicking on the box below. This is Bilal signing off. Until next time.